And welcome back to another episode of the New Generation Challenge podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Brett Parnell.
And I'm Titi Fernandez.
And we're back after a week. Titi, you look like you had an amazing trip, so we weren't here last week, but we are back this week. We're going to start talking a quick bit about episode 2, anything that was that noteworthy, and then we'll jump into episode 3 of this season.
Yeah, that sounds good. The trip was amazing, thankfully. And I've just been also taking care of my dogs because we've had a lot of scares recently.
Oh
So
no. Hope they're okay.
yeah, thankfully they're both doing really good now.
Good. All right, so let's get into episode 2 quickly. First of all, we start out with getting new partners, and that seems to be a theme of this season, and apparently in more ways than one, based on the way this episode goes.
Yeah, I like how they're changing up the partners because it makes it harder for kind of like dominating alliances to take over the game. So it switches up things, and it's also interesting to see how people are working with other people who are not their partners.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll get into that when we get to episode 3, but there's a interesting interaction there that really shows that when they do this in a season, you really have to play with the entire house and can't just form an alliance of 8 and be like, let's go all the way to the end.
Yeah, and I like how they are, I'm pretty sure it's like USA 1 where they have to be partnered with like every person.
Yeah,
So I'm liking that aspect as well.
same. All right, so we get into the daily, and I don't remember what they called this challenge, but they're effectively having stunt cars take jumps over them, where they have to get the information to decode the puzzle. This looked dangerous. We already see one of these cars wipe out with a professional driver in it. I don't know what MTV was worried about there, but
Yeah. It looked kind of fun though.
it did.
It was very different. I've liked a lot of the dailies this season because they're getting really creative with things and they're not just doing where they're on a platform and have to push each other off and fall into the water or whatever. So I
Yeah.
do like how they're getting creative, and it looks like they're also like this stuff is probably pretty costly too. So the budget is probably like being used up in the dailies, which I really like.
Yeah, which is a lot better than the budget being used up in explosives and not cast fees or challenges like we got in 37 and 38.
Yeah, I'm not a big the explosion stuff I think is just dumb in my
Yeah,
opinion, but
it's fun once in a while, but it was kind of overdone for the
yeah.
price they were paying for it.
But in that challenge, Turbo and Leka, is it you say Leka, right?
Like yeah.
I'm just making sure I'm saying it correctly and it's not Leka or something. But we see Turbo and Leka win the challenge. Turbo is a puzzle king and he was able to identify that he doesn't really need to go and see what's under the cars to figure out the puzzle.
Yeah,
And
that
he
was
was
so
able
smart that he
to decode
could
the rest.
know right away, oh, there's a couple of patterns here. I can just drop in one piece to the next.
Yeah, and I think that's a very like veteran challenger move. We've seen that a lot from people like Bananas, Devin, Wes, where they're able to kind of identify patterns in past challenges where and then use that information to kind of figure out the challenge that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see, like you say, that Turbo and Leka win that challenge. Blue loses and is going to go into elimination because it's a female week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back to the house. And this is where all the drama really in this episode kicks off.
Yeah, the title of the episode was We Used to Hook Up, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which when I read that, I was like, how do these two people know each other? Seeing that it seemed, at least from my knowledge, like Will's background is half in Quebec, Canada, and half in Los Angeles, and Dia's from Florida. By we used to, it meant before the show started, apparently. Bad game move
So
all over.
that long ago.
Yeah. In the
I
airport on the way here.
in the hotel before the game. But yeah, I guess like we said, Dee and Will were hooking up, and then now Dee kind of gets in the house and she's more into bananas now, and Will kind of had some drinks and got very upset about that.
Yeah.
He like punched a wall or something, and
Yeah. And you're now playing a political game that Bananas is a master at, whereas Will is brand new and doesn't quite know what he's doing. So even if you're not, whether you are not interested in either of them, Bananas can help you game wise.
yeah, absolutely. And we see that he has a mental breakdown because of it and is just pretty much going crazy. And I feel like any rookie should know going into this game that doing something like that is not a very good idea because it's very easy for them to say, well, Will was causing chaos and punching things. We don't want him in the house. And
Yeah,
then the guy's day, it's going to be an easy vote for them.
exactly. Anything that can cause issues, whether it be punching a wall or arguing with people, or in the case of Turbo, sleeping in public spaces. Um, just don't make it easy for people to want to vote against you, or they will.
Mhm.
Because if you're not, if you're in the sand, they are not.
Absolutely. And we see for kind of going quickly, but for elimination, Blue wanted Tay to go in,
Yeah,
and the house ends up giving her that. And it, as it turns out, they had to do, it was kind of like, I think somebody said it was like a balls in, but with like
yeah,
lasers.
exactly.
And we see that at the end,
But
Blue
by
and
that, the entire course was in play and not just the dead center.
yeah, but we see Tay is able to defeat Blue in that elimination. It was pretty hard fought throughout, and then at the end, we kind of see Blue almost like give up, which is not something that we love to see. But I do think she did try to give it her all and just was feeling discouraged because she didn't think she could win.
Yeah, exactly. Also, there's just a bit of a mismatch there, and that she was probably. It seems like one of those challenges, be it this one or the traditional balls in, that it's like if you're at some point just so exhausted that you can barely stand on your feet, it's not happening.
Yeah. That could be that's a good point to make because um when you're already losing and your body's so exhausted, sometimes it's just there is nothing left in the tank for you to
Yeah.
give. So that's a good point.
And we
But
also see this episode a new alliance starting to form, which
mhm.
gets into a larger alliance come episode 3. But Jeremy, Sydney, Dee, and Leka seem to be a group of 4 at this point.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting group.
Yeah.
It's all rookies, and all those rookies are probably some of the top performers,
Yeah.
I would say, of the rookie class this year. So I'm interested to see how that
At least
goes.
that we've seen so far.
What'd you say?
I said at least that we've seen so far.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
could
yeah.
be some people who rise up to that level later, but they certainly seem to be 4 very strong contenders.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes and if it ends up lasting or not. But we'll have to find out later.
All right. So, like we mentioned, Tay wins. Therefore, Blue is eliminated in week 2. Disappointment for, I know, a lot of Big Brother fans that get into this show through Big Brother players. But I do think that Blue played a interesting game and has a decent chance to give it another shot someday. We've seen before with other players, notably Kara and Bananas. You don't have to have an amazing rookie season statistically or physically in order to get a call back. You just have to be good on the show.
Yeah, and I think that she was kind of featured a lot in like commercials and also like in episodes and confessional wise. So I think
Yeah,
she's a pretty good storyteller and I could definitely see her coming back in the future.
absolutely. So, who are your players of the week for this episode?
So I picked Turbo and Tay kind of for the same reason. Turbo for finding out the pattern and the challenge, and then Tay for winning that elimination. She got kind of pushed into something and she looks like very tiny. I don't
Yeah,
know. So I was really impressed with her performance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Both great picks. I went with Leka on the women's side. She's both won the daily and was part of that group of four that seems to be a strong alliance of rookies now coming into the game and really going to try to challenge the veterans. So we'll see how that goes. And then I went for Bananas as my male player of the week, solely because with all of this drama going down, he was able, knowing his role in the game, to just sit back and let it all play out and focus on his game and focus on his new alliance with D. And younger Bananas would have been in a fist fight with Will, getting both of their asses thrown out of the house.
Yeah, that was, I didn't even like think of it like that, but it's almost like he's showing maturity, which we don't really
Not
see that,
something we say that often on this
but
podcast.
it's like, I don't know, it's interesting because again, he could have argued, but he's almost like it, the way that he reacted just kind of shows that he's better than that. He's like, "Oh, I'm not dealing with that drama," you know?
Yeah, exactly.
For the losers, we surprisingly, or sometimes it happens, we pick the same people, which is
Yeah,
kind of funny because sometimes we try to think like, oh, she's probably gonna pick this guy or whatever.
there
But
was no real
there was
other
no other
choice here.
loser. There was no other loser. To me, and probably same with you, D. I really liked on Survivor. I'm not loving right now. I'm not loving her on the challenge. Um, I think again we talked about kind of her attitude towards other people and then also like getting messy with those things. In my opinion, I think it's not a good thing to be the center of an argument or the center of drama, even if you're yourself not the one that's arguing. I think she should have just had a conversation with Will and just because maybe she had to have noticed that he was still into her and just say like, "Hey, you know what? That's not something I'm interested in."
Yeah,
And she's kind of like just letting it's like she lit the dumpster on fire and is just kind of watching it burn. And I
yeah,
think
exactly.
that can put a target on her too because people are like, why is she causing this? Like, what did she do to this guy that he's so like, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And then therefore, whether it's right or wrong, who knows what happened, but kind of can set the idea up of maybe we don't want to trust D on things, especially now that she is in an alliance and trying to grow that by at least, spoiler alert for something we're going to talk about in 5 minutes, expanding that alliance from being four rookies to getting players that really know this game in it, like Ashley, Anissa, Nani, Bananas.
And I think it's also like being a human being and just saying, you know what, this guy's upset.
Yeah,
Like it would have, and you see like Anissa comforting him, like you see other, like he's crying, he's very upset. I'm not saying it's right or wrong for him to feel that way, but it's like if you know that your actions upset somebody else, you can just be like, hey, I'm really sorry that I gave you the wrong impression, and just try to be a nice person about it. And I would have
exactly.
a little bit more of that.
Yeah, definitely. And then for our male, we both had Will. That was also kind of self-explanatory in the same issue, but I just seems like bad pre-gaming on both D and Will's part. Will's now taken that into the house and seems to be a bit uncontrollable, and that's not someone that you're going to want in your alliance moving forward.
Yeah. Punching things. I mean, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm having fun watching it, but if I was playing the game, I would not invite somebody to act like that.
yeah, absolutely. All right, ready to get into episode 2?
Yes.
All right, so we once again have to choose new partners. And while there's a lot of great teams here, Naya chooses Gabe, who is not happy about it.
Yeah, this really pissed me off.
Yeah,
Naya is an absolute beast. I was looking up her because this is another thing we'll get into later, but her elimination record, I was looking to make sure that they didn't count that as a loss, but she is a beast. She's only lost two eliminations, one to Michelle, one to Cara,
yeah,
and has made two finals. Is even if she doesn't come in super like in shape as she's called it, she's still does really well. She's
Oh yeah.
never like an early out. I guess we'll talk about that later. But yeah, she's not someone that is a slouch by any means. And I think this was very rude for him to just assume, like, oh, I'm probably going to lose this, that, and the other when you haven't even given it a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm almost wondering when this was filmed, did they maybe edit it a little out of order and maybe Gabe knew that Nia was injured? It's
Yeah,
possible.
I'm
And
guessing that it was just like it had been known that she was injured.
yeah,
And then like it kind of got more serious as like, let's get the MRI, you know?
yeah, as the episode went on.
Yeah.
And then before we get to the daily, we have Derek's birthday party, which was just hilarious. And having met Derek twice, many, many years apart, this was perfectly on brand for Derek. I love him.
Yeah, I really like this, and my favorite part was Kara's like roast that she did.
Yes.
I was literally crying laughing when she said the thing about Anissa having the retirement home pay her and just CT's jawline comment. I love that and I think it looked like so much fun. I'm sure the roast was about more people and I wish we could have seen all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish they should do things when these kind of random moments happen in the challenge. Like, I mean, provided that it's possible with content guidelines, which you never know. They should just put the whole thing on YouTube because
Yeah,
I would love to
I
watch
really
it.
like that. Do you have anything else before the daily?
No. So we're playing a really neat daily called Water Tower this time, which combines swimming, diving, and rock climbing and puzzles. So really a lot of different skills. One player has to swim out to a tower,
And the other
rock
one,
climb the entire tower, which I think is like 10 meters, so I guess that's about 30 feet. Um, and then jump in the middle of this structure in order to then have to go down, dive out, swim back, and the other player can start the puzzle.
I think they could start it while they were doing it and they just couldn't complete it.
I see.
So it
Makes
looked
sense.
like it was kind of a slide puzzle where they had to remove the big piece out of there.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, they both kind of swam to their thing, climbed. The other person was trying to figure out the puzzle, and then once the player came to the platform, they were able to um, finish the puzzle and call check. We see, so I want to get into this a little bit later, more in depth, but TJ says that Naya is injured and cannot compete because they're not
Yeah.
sure what MRI results are. But I'm just getting flashbacks to season 40 where Derek Kaczynski was jumping on one leg and almost beat Corey in an elimination. So it's just like, what is the rule?
I'm
Oh,
anticipating that it's probably the same as Survivor, which is if you ask for medical, it becomes their call and not yours anymore. Naya went to the hospital and had an MRI, therefore she's physically unable to compete till we know the results. Whereas
mhm.
Derek was, no, no, I'm good, until he couldn't do it anymore.
I mean, yeah, he fought to the last.
He did.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
know that's the
point.
rule in Survivor. Jess came out and said that. I assume it's probably the same in the challenge, just based on past issues in the challenge. But I don't think I've ever heard anything like from TJ or from MTV directly explaining it the way I have with Survivor.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know, it was just kind of odd to me, but it makes more sense if it was something like if you choose to seek medical attention legally, liability wise, they
Yeah,
can't let you. Yeah,
that's
makes
it.
sense.
I know
So
they say that's the case with Survivor. Is like the um, contract will protect CBS up until the point that a doctor has told CBS, no, take this person out of the game.
yeah, interesting. But first up, we see Sydney. So Naya can't compete, so Gabe is not happy about it. But Sydney is just an absolute beast.
She is. And
Like,
I've been a
oh my,
huge Sydney fan before this season. I've wanted her on this show for a long time now. And yeah, total beast. Matching it with her personality on social media was just amazing. I don't know if you saw her comment Naya commented on the MTV page and said, oh, no, not Naya, sorry, Leka commented on the MTV page and said, is this Sydney or is this Michael Phelps in the challenge? And Sydney says, that guy has nothing on me. I was
Yeah,
dying.
I really like Sydney. I did watch her Survivor season, but I didn't watch it when it was live, so I kind of streamed it, and I
Mm,
didn't feel like when you stream it, you don't get to really you watch it too fast, you know?
yeah, exactly.
Um, so I kind of had forgotten about her in a way, and I'm really glad that she made the switch. She's obviously very, very fit physically, and she did amazing. Um, but
She
this,
runs from her home in Brooklyn to her office in Midtown Manhattan over to Brooklyn Bridge and then through the city every single day.
oh wow, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Um, I just again, I was so scared watching this because we see players like Derek, D, Aviv just like screaming for help.
Yeah.
Because you also like, I don't even know how you would jump because I would be worried about like if you kind of jump too far, you can hit the platform like in the air.
True.
So
I never thought of that. All all I thought about is there goes Spencer again. Sorry about that. Oh wait, you don't know this story. I have an obsessive friend who calls me all the time that drives me nuts. I haven't been able to do a podcast in 6 months without him calling on either
why don't
show.
you block him?
I wish. I've done that before.
Um, but yeah, so it's just it was terrifying to me seeing them scream for help, seeing how many people had to go get rescued. It looks like they got the
See,
wind knocked out of them. We hear that happens a lot
okay, that makes sense.
in the Heights
That's
town.
interesting that you bring that up because, see, to me, this might be odd, but like as someone who does diving, all I could think about watching this is how much I wanted to do it.
All I could think about watching this is I would never do that. You can't pay me to do that.
Interesting.
Because we both, yeah, I'm an amazing swimmer,
Yeah,
but jumping, no. I don't like heights.
fair. I'm not a great swimmer, but I'm a really good scuba diver. So the idea of having to like get yourself out of there, I thought would just be neat to try.
Yeah, I
And
did
oh,
swim growing up, so I'm
nice.
pretty good, but I don't like the platform. Get me away from that.
Fair.
A little bit about how turns out Cedric can actually swim. I don't know the point of him doing that whole thing
Yeah.
because, like, I get it. He was like, "Oh, I want people to think I can't swim," but it's like they're gonna find out that you can, though.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna be like, "What else can this guy do that we don't know about?" Or why was he like lying about that? Like, I don't know. Just kind of odd to me.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree there. And then we get to the end of the daily, and Olivia and Justin win. Justin
Yeah.
is having a great season since his upset in the elimination arena. And Olivia now has even more power than she already did with a win.
Yeah, and Olivia is again, they talked about this, but she is has the most points tied with Bananas for the men, but
Yeah.
she is to me has been the most she's the top player in the season. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she's my favorite player regardless out of
Yeah.
everybody. But the way that she's performing and the hold that she has on the politics of the house is
It is.
impressive.
Yeah, it definitely. The only thing that she's going to probably have to work on is trying to get a few more numbers as we go further because she's in control of everything. But once I guess in USA One they called it the algorithm. Who knows? Once this idea of them having different partners is ends in some mid-season twist, I get the sense that this other alliance might be larger than her alliance.
That definitely could be it.
Notably after Naya going this week, which if Naya was not disqualified and was healthy, would not have happened.
Yeah, I don't know because also I feel like she's doing a really good job at position or like aligning with people that are very strong. Not
Yeah,
saying the
she
other side
is.
is not strong, but I think that the girls and the guys that she's aligned with are people that if they go into elimination, they have a pretty good shot against winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to the club.
And probably not players that'll come last, so therefore you can at least make sure you get a
Somebody who's not
strong opponent against the last place team and send them home.
But the club, so we have, this was really, really funny to me. I've been loving seeing the banter on social media between these two, but Turbo and Theo, Turbo was just giving Theo shit about how he's not performing well, and Olivia is the alpha, and
That's
Theo's like,
hilarious.
who do you think's gonna fight a guy if he comes and tries to rob us or something? And then Turbo's like, oh, it's gonna be Olivia.
That was great. Turbo is always entertaining. Nick, I mean, this comes from the end of the episode, but I have to bring it up now that we're talking about Turbo. I've been waiting ever since this cast drop to see Turbo and Sydney as a pair, and we get it next week. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and I hope that Turbo gets mad.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I feel like that'd be so entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have at the club Olivia making a strategy to, over a 2-week period, try to make Bananas the hangnail now so he's easy to get rid of next week.
Yeah. I think this is genius.
It is.
Great idea. 10 out of 10. And spoiler alert, we'll talk about that in a second, but it doesn't actually work. But
no.
In theory, it was a great strategy because
and if Naya doesn't get disqualified, it probably does.
Yeah, 100%. Leroy was giving Gabe some advice for Naya. I appreciated seeing Leroy kind of step in and just telling him, like, the best thing you can do is hope that she wins, encourage her, or help her. But the way that Gabe was still talking about her in his interviews was very off-putting to me. I feel like and then he was also denying what he said. He's like, all I said is, I hope we don't lose. And then he literally said, like, I'm gonna fucking lose or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like Gabe.
No.
I really don't.
He's not.
I don't think that's gonna change.
I don't either. I don't necessarily know if this was the right show for him. We've seen some people from WWE move into reality television and do really well. I'm thinking of like Nikki on the Traders last season, who was very entertaining, but I don't
Or
think.
The Miz going from reality TV to, yeah.
That's right. But I don't think that the challenge is necessarily Gabe's strong suit in understanding any of the social game. I think he's probably just there. Almost like maybe if he does stick around, could be like a new version of Turbo, who's just there to crush people in elimination.
Yeah, I don't know because I feel like he's already like with Turbo on his first season, we immediately saw how well he was performing.
Yeah.
He didn't even go into elimination. And even though he was so chaotic, he was still had that hold on the game where so I don't know. I'll have to see.
Though Turbo at least had some background to being on Survivor before and knew what he was getting himself into.
We're like, oh my god, this guy is insane. So
yeah.
I don't have anything else from the club, but for after the club, we see Sydney kind of go on a tangent about how she hates the UK. She never wants to go there again, and she's not a fan of Olivia and their whole alliance and is actively going against them.
Yeah, I saw this. This was obviously hard for me to watch, but as someone who likes both of them. But hey, that's television sometimes. Also, Sydney not traveling to a country, I don't buy it. She's probably just in a position in the show where she's kind of frustrated. I also have some thoughts I'll ask you after on this, but we'll see what happens out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I do. This like reminds me of like when I've been to Europe and then I get home and I'm like basically screaming the national anthem by the time I get to the because I'm like, where is the AC? Where is the iced water? Like I am the most like stereotypical American anytime that I've been to like abroad. I That's probably why I piss them off so much when I'm go there. But yeah, I was like, that's literally
Or you
me.
just flew on the wrong airlines that only had one drink.
Yeah, but then also when I asked for ice water and then I got told to relax and calm down, this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
And
that
then
would be annoying.
I was like, so do I get the water or anyways, then we see Gabe
Well,
kind
we'll
of
see. I'll be in Southeast Asia at some point during this season of the challenge, so that'll be a totally different culture shock compared to what we're used to.
yeah, I don't know. I'm very much a vacationer,
Nice.
not as much of a traveler. I like having luxurious things.
Yeah.
So everybody's different.
Yeah, I'm kind of somewhere in between there. I like both of them, but like I don't mind to do new stuff because when I'm retired, my plan is to sell my house here and move in Mexico.
That's smart. A lot of
Yeah,
people um but yeah, I mean I do like seeing new things on I like doing like one day of like an excursion. Like
yeah.
take a boat, give me some drinks,
Yeah.
some snorkeling, but like I'm not staying in a tent. I'm not going camping.
Yeah,
Like
same here.
I'm not eating some food that is definitely not passing like health standards.
Yeah, same here.
Like something like that.
Absolutely.
But Gabe apologized to Naya and she did a really good job with saying like that's a very good thing that you can do. Um, and I don't know, it still felt very forced to me from him.
It
It didn't
did.
feel very
Yeah, I'd agree with you right there. You here?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I thought you froze for a second.
No, you're fine. I was just closing out a notification.
Oh, no problem. And then we get into deliberations, where first of all, Turbo and Izzy are saved by winners, Olivia and Justin. So they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, this was kind of interesting. I think that Olivia made the right choice kind of by saving somebody that is she's who's in her alliance and is also a rookie, so is more likely to have to go in um than saving a vet or something like that. And Michaela's very vocal about how she did not agree with this situation and how she thought it was a stupid move. But I don't like Michaela is kind of like she's done 2 seasons. She did very well on USA 2, but her
Yep.
first season that she did, she was the first girl out because she caused so much chaos that they sent her immediately in when she wasn't even going to be the one going into elimination.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of odd that she's now the brains of the operation and knows everything.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Um, but that's also kind of on brand for Michaela to want to be in charge of everything. So I see where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's true. And then we see Bananas kind of go on his tangent about how this is his show and if he wasn't there, the whatever. And I'll say Bananas is a huge part of the show, but so
Yeah.
is some CT,
And
Cara.
Bananas says this right next to CT.
But it just literally gave me flashbacks to Vanderpump Rules and Jax Taylor being like telling Lisa that it's his show. And I'm like, are these two the same person? Because I'm seeing a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
absolutely.
watch Vanderpump Rules. If you haven't,
I
definitely check.
haven't much, but I am now definitely sending this episode to my sister. She is a massive fan of it.
I'm a huge fan of Vanderpump Rules.
Nice. I when I went out a couple weeks ago, right before I went on my cruise. Well, almost 2 months ago now. Time's going by so quickly. But like my sister had me finding all the Vanderpump Rules locations in Vegas.
Yeah. I'll be
because she wants to go to
in
the mall.
Vegas. I'll be in Vegas to see my friend Darian,
Oh,
who's
nice.
the Raiders in September. So
Nice.
I'm going to be visiting some of Lisa's places for sure.
Oh, very nice. Paris and Caesars are the two locations she has.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make reservations or something.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, you'll love
Anyways,
it.
but we didn't have an elimination this week.
Before we
Um,
get there, just something a thought that I had with Bananas being right next to CT saying it's his show. I'm like, can we just get Jordan as a mercenary here?
yeah, I don't know. I love seeing Jordan on the challenge. I wish he wasn't taking a break.
Yeah, same, but everyone needs someone at one point.
Absolutely. 100%.
We've seen what's happened with like Michelle doing 6 seasons in a row and how much that takes from a commitment from her, just like out of her personal life, with Tori doing like
Absolutely.
8 or 9 seasons in a row.
Yeah. Um, but again, with no elimination, I don't like how TJ said, America, you win this elimination, and Naya, you lose.
Yeah,
Because there was, to me, she shouldn't have gotten points for that.
yeah, I'd agree.
I didn't like that.
No, you're right. I never thought of that till now, but I completely
No,
agree.
again, so I went up and I looked up on the challenge wiki page or whatever. I'm like, I really hope that they're not counting this as a loss because in no, it was a DQ.
Yeah. All right. And last thing I had to just laugh about at the end of the episode, we get Michaela telling other players when they're being too loud and talking too much. And I'm like, Survivor fans, including myself, are laughing so hard at this right now.
Yeah, it is an interesting comment coming from her.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
So who's your player of the week for this episode?
so for the male, I said Justin because we kind of went from seeing him be perceived as the weakest guy, kind of last picked when they were doing their picks of whatever, and then also like first elimination. But we've now seen how much he can actually do with winning the daily, winning his elimination, and I think he's in a very good spot. He's doing a good job at in the when he was voting in or when they were picking who to vote in, he did a good job making sure that he didn't try to overpower Olivia because
Yeah.
that would be kind of seen as a red flag. And then he also took her advice saying like, you know what, this person screwed me over, but let's kind of get a clean slate. I will help you out here. Hopefully that you will help me out later.
Yeah, absolutely. I also went with Justin in this spot. For everything that you said, I would also just add to it that the fact that he was able to work so well with Olivia as somebody who kind of feels that he was on the outs in episode one now really gives Justin that opportunity moving into like next week to become a number for with this UK alliance and maybe rebuild his relationship with Derek that may have been gone the wrong way, seeing that they can both be very tight allies of Olivia.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think Olivia is, again, in probably the best spot in the game. So she's a good person to kind of have on your side
Yeah.
and work with her in the vote. For female, I went with Naya because
Yes.
I really liked that she stood up for herself.
Yeah.
I love that she even though she was upset about it, which is totally a normal thing to be upset about, I like how she just kind of called them out for it and said like she said, "You don't know what you're talking about, and also why shouldn't I just throw you to the fish at this point?"
Yeah. Absolutely. Great pick. I went with Olivia for my female. Winning the daily, even though it didn't work because of a disqualification. Masterminding a way to get Bananas out of this game is probably the biggest move you can make in the challenge.
Yeah, it was a great plan. Unfortunately, it just
Yeah.
nobody would have guessed that was going to be the outcome.
No, for sure. But therefore, she still gets my player of the week regardless.
Um, for the loser of the week, I had to go with TJ because um so first I wasn't sure about the injury rule type of thing, so I'm like, why don't we're not calling this a win? Like this is not don't say he literally said, Nia, you lose the elimination, America, you win. There was no elimination to win or
Yeah,
lose. Nope. Also, what else? Oh, I don't like how this was another girls' day. I would have loved to see
yeah,
Nia. I wish they would have let Nia compete, and I would have loved to see her just kind of like not doing anything and getting Gabe into elimination. I feel like that would have been amazing.
yeah, that would have been amazing. You're right. And for me, loser of the week, I went with my player of the week last week for men. Oh no, are we talking about men? Yeah, you went with TJ. I was like, wait, who did you go with?
I
I'll play.
usually do males first, which
Yeah, makes sense. So I went with Johnny here. Um, Bananas, no matter what happens, either at this point needs to drastically improve his game and make sure that he is 100% part of this group going on I guess this bigger group that's merging into two, which the way I'm seeing it seems like Sydney is the and Dia, the two power players here, because they're in an alliance together with Leka and with Jeremy. But then Sydney also seems to be running an alliance with Aviv, who's tied to Johnny from last season. Bananas really needs to solidify this into something formal, or else he is going to be in a lot of trouble with how much power Olivia has.
I 100% agree. And I think that after like his little tangent that he went on could have rubbed some people the wrong way.
Yeah,
Like, and I don't think CT would care about this, but we did also see CT like, oh, getting bananas into elimination, like that. I'm not gonna say no to that,
yeah,
or as so we're also seeing that even some of the vets, except like Anissa, who's just blindly following him, they are kind of starting to question some of his choices. So I would definitely agree with that pick. Um, for my female, I picked Michaela because again, you had a really good season, but then you also had a really bad season. So I think that her stepping in and just kind of arguing about things in terms of the vets, I don't think well, I guess she's with Johnny, but I feel like she's the one that a lot of people know the least because
yeah.
she hasn't really done flagships. Um, so I don't know. I would have to give her a week for just kind of starting arguments.
Yeah, absolutely. I went with America for my female in this position. She just seemed to be maybe a bit on the outside of the episode, compared to where a lot of the other females are a bit more visible in one alliance or the other. I'm not quite sure where her position is. Is she closer to Olivia but happen to be partnered with Bananas? Is she closer with the bigger alliance but isn't really making any moves there? I don't quite know. She easily could have went home this week and got two undeserved points, as you brought to my attention, that I never even thought of. So that's where my pick comes from.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think she is kind of the classic example of that one person who's at the bottom of the alliance. Maybe they're at the bottom of the majority alliance and they're just kind of either oblivious or they don't really care about, like, oh, as long as I'm with them, I don't really care. And I think she could have used that into kind of trying to make like a deal with Olivia or something
Yeah,
like that because she's gonna be higher up on Olivia's list than any of those other people when you have all the vet women before you and a lot of the rookie women
yeah,
before you as well.
absolutely. All right. Well, that ends episode 2 and 3. Thanks everyone for listening. This will come out on Sunday, so we'll be back sometime next week to talk about episode 4. We also saw new teams get drafted, so there's some fairly interesting matchups that we'll be seeing compete together next week.
Yeah, I'm definitely manifesting a Turbo and Sydney fight. I think that's amazing television. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
And I am manifesting a Turbo and Sydney win, so one of us will probably be right. One of us will be
Oh,
totally
that'll be
off.
kind of interesting. All right.
I think the two of them may be my favorite male and female on this season, so
See, I could never put Olivia above anybody. I'm just
that's
such an
fair. I I wouldn't be able to put anyone above Michelle, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think seeing how long I've been advocating for Sydney to be on this show and people like, who even is she has to be my number one on this season, with the fact that she's got there and is now proving that it was a good decision by casting, and something that has been a good idea of mine on the social media world of the challenge for many years.
See, the only thing I wish, and I feel like this would obviously I love her character, Sydney's, but I wish she was single,
Yeah.
and I wish that she
Oh.
not so damn successful in her real life. I don't like, who knows if she's going to be able to continue doing the challenge, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That brings up something, just that you mentioned that I wrote down in episode 2 and didn't even talk about it. Was drama with D and men on this show always bound to happen because like 80% of these women are already committed?
That is true.
I just thought of that coming
Maybe
into the season. But I'm
no
like, we don't
shame.
usually have a cast of mostly women who are already in relationships the way we do it this season.
No shame to D, but we have
Yeah.
seen her kind of going around. We had the
Yeah.
Austin, then we had the Wendell's girlfriend or mistress, I guess you would call, because he was dating somebody else, and then now Will, and now Bananas. So yeah, we're getting some messiness
But
from
even
her.
in the other side, it's like Sydney's very public with her relationship. America, we know, is in a relationship with Corey from her cast. Aviv is married. Olivia and Theo are a couple that are in this house together.
I wish we got to see Turbo, like hooking up with somebody.
That would be great.
Like, I can't imagine like him being like nice to a girl.
No.
All right, but do you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, that's about it. But thanks everyone for listening again, and we'll see you all soon. Good night.
Bye.